Welcome back to the Thinking Out Loud podcast. I'm your host, Coach Emery, aka Emery McMillan. And today with me, I have Nubia, Coach Nubia. She's a mind, body, and soul coach, air goddess, best-selling author, and she also has a tribe called She Is Healed. I am going to let Nubia talk today, explaining what she does, and I'm going to jump right with a bunch of questions like I always do. So take it away.
Greetings. Thank you, Coach Emery, for having me here today. I am Kamesha Sade, also known as Coach Nubia. I'm 27, born and raised in Rochester, New York. And I have always had a heart and a passion for motivating people and helping people just tap into the highest version of themselves. So I started out as a hairstylist, a master braider by trade. And just from me doing so many people's hair and just talking and communicating and really just being a therapist, okay, because as a hairstylist, you are a therapist. I realized that I was able to formulate and create solutions to every single problem that my clients would have. So it went from me being a good listener to me thinking a little more deeply into what people would say to me when they say, well, Kamesha, you need to be my coach. Kamesha, you need to be my therapist. Kamesha, you need to be a life coach. So at the top of this year, actually 2021, I decided to tap in and really embrace and just surrender, right? Surrender and just accept the calling of being a soul coach. Now, in the beginning, it was a really cool thing that I just really thought, I'm like, okay, soul coach, mind, body, and soul coach, helping with the mind, the body, and soul. But when I really started tapping into the work and I started formulating different strategies to help people heal, and I really started hearing the different stories of the healing process in the areas where a lot of people get stuck, I realized that the need for healing and the need for the alignment of the mind, body, and soul was at an all-time high, because double back in last year was a series of so many uncertain events that took place that has people's emotions just all over the place. Nerves are everywhere. Anxiety is on an all-time high. Depression is just shooting through the roof. And I said, wow, now more than ever, it's a time for the alignment of the mind, body, and the soul. And also healing as we transform into whatever this new world is getting ready to be. So that is the reason why I tapped in right here, right now, in this time and space.
Wow. So let's skip back. All that was amazing. But let's skip back to something real dope. You said you from upstate New York, Rochester.
Yes.
Now, where you at now? Where you at now?
I am currently in Atlanta, Georgia. I moved 2 years ago. So I'm a new Georgia peach.
Okay, sweet. Now, big shout out to upstate, because obviously I'm in Buffalo, New York. So what was that transition like from up north, fast-paced living to down south living? And then how did that tie into your journey? Because it sounded, you said 2 years ago. So you were a stylist up north before that, right?
Yes, I was a stylist, full-time stylist up north prior to me moving to Atlanta. When I was in network marketing, I've been in network marketing literally my whole life. I've been in the Mary Kay's, the World Ventures, everything you can think of. Like, I'm a very extremely social person. So network marketing was something that I found a lot of value in because of the consistent personal development. So that turned me on a lot. So I was always in network marketing, but I was at an event, actually. I flew down to Atlanta to come to an event, and it was a network marketing event. But when I touched the soil of Atlanta, when I touched down and I smelled the air and the trees start talking to me, and I really just enjoyed the culture of the people, the food, the creed. It was a creed, and honestly, upstate New York really lacks, just to be completely transparent, it lacks the culture in Black people. And when I seen culture in Black people here in Atlanta, I said, this is actually where I need to be. I love, my culture and my people. And I really love the essence of the entrepreneur, mindset, because that I was literally born an entrepreneur. Elementary school, I was selling snacks out of my little cubby in my little locker room, like legit. If anyone knows me, they remember me from either selling a cookie or a cake or a juice. Okay. So, but ultimately, when I came to Atlanta, Atlanta's culture and creed and environment really, it spoke to me. Okay. So I went back home to Rochester, New York, and I planned on moving, and I ended up pregnant and conceiving my beautiful, gorgeous baby girl. So I said, wow, okay, I still want to go. So I nurtured my daughter. And, I had her very healthy birth. I had her, and then I was like, you know what, I'm still actually ready to go. So about 9 months went by. I came back down to Atlanta for my birthday. And I said, you know what, I'm not leaving here until I find my place. And I found my place. I put my thought and my intention in my mind. And I said, I'm not leaving here until I find my place. And this is the reason why I talk about the mind and connecting the mind with the body and the soul, so that way you can materialize what it is that you're wanting. It's cool to want, but how can you make it come into fruition, right? And I talk about that in my book, Healing to Heal. Okay, so just fast forward just a little bit. Ended up finding a place, went back to Rochester, New York, all HE double hockey sticks broke loose. Anything that you could think of. My car got hit and totaled. There was just so many different voices in my ear telling me, don't go, why would you leave? Oh my God, Atlanta, wow, it's just so terrible. Just so many painted pictures of just drastic, why would you ever want to change your life? Whoa. So for me, being extremely rebellious, and I'm very anti-system and anti what everyone else thinks, it didn't affect me. Even the car accident and all of the different things, it didn't affect me either, because when my mind is set on something, I see it all the way through. And this is the mental clarity and focus that connecting your mind, body, and soul provides, and it brings to you. So I tried it down to Atlanta with me and my daughter. And at the time I was engaged with my fiance, and we tried it down to Georgia, and we drove right on down. So it's been about 2 years going on 3. And Atlanta has been nothing but amazing to me. And I believe it's because I listened when my intuition told me when I came down here to visit, oh baby, this is the place for you to go. Intuition is so important. And you won't be able to hear it unless you connect your mind, body, and soul. So there's that.
That's a deep and dope story, and I want to touch on a couple of things that are parallel with me. So I also, obviously from upstate, also used to hustle out of my locker, right? My story is a little bit different. I'll talk about that on a different podcast. But yeah, I was the pen guy, everything you needed for school, snack guy, all of that. And so, but the tying part, the parallel part is the Georgia part. When I landed in Georgia, I visited Georgia recently. I landed in Georgia, and the moment I got there, I felt like I was at home. Like you said, the air, the trees, the people, something about being in that space. Because I came down here before, but I wasn't connected to myself. This trip, for some reason, as soon as I got there, I felt like I was home. I would just stand outside and just smell the air and look at all the trees and feel connected to the energy down there. It was such a powerful feeling to me. And everything in me heightened. Everything that I know, or everything I know about myself, it magnified, right? So like powers and stuff like that, like just energy that we have about ourselves, our aura, it magnifies when you're in the right space. And I could feel it moving through my body. So to me, it was like, yo, you need to be here. You need to be in this space. You need to be in this place where you feel it's almost like a flow, like you can just move like water through here. And that's what it felt like to me. So I'm actually in the process of doing my own transition down to Georgia. So be on the lookout for some more collaboration and stuff like that. I'll definitely be reaching out to you when I get down there to tap me in your network and stuff of that nature. But that's an incredible feeling to know when you get somewhere, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is where I feel is calling me to be, at least in this moment for right now, because we can be called multiple places, multiple times through our lives, and we will be. But in this moment right now, I feel that my mission is taking me there. So that is incredible. And that's amazing that you didn't let anything stop you. Like you said, when you came back up, things kind of like started going out of whack. Those are kind of like tests, like, hey, are you still going to do what you said you were going to do? And I can definitely attest to that. Things started going crazy since I got back. Like, hey, you know what? Just signs like, yo, make sure you don't get comfortable up here. Make sure you stick to what you said, because I said there's something for you down here. So stick to your guns. So that is incredible. And like you said, when you align your mind, body, and your soul, you can tap into those kind of things. So you mentioned your book. What is the name of your book, and what inspired you to write the book?
Yes, it is Healing to Heal. It's the ultimate guide to help pull you out from lingering in the healing process. The reason why I formulated this book was because at the beginning of the year, I had a really strong realization on healing. Number one, when I really tapped into Georgia and I moved here, I went through a healing process. And I didn't realize that I didn't have an intention on where I was going after the process. I just knew that there was a need for healing. So I was healing with honestly no intent to be healed. And when I realized that that was an actual formula, healing to healed, when I realized you heal in order to be healed, I said, wow, there's some unfinished business here. And I made it my duty to see the other side of healing so that way I can accept and be receptive into great experiences, pure love, and great relationships, and a beautiful, career. So the reason why I formulated the 10 steps was because number one, it's extremely simple. Humans like instructions. Humans like, listen, show me where to go, show me how to do it, and I got it, right? So the ultimate guide is separated into steps. Number two, we must understand that every place that we go we have a destination when we get in a car, no matter where we go, right? So healing to healed is the formula to help you reach the destination of where you want to be on the other side. Let's say, for an example, you are healing from a heartbreak. The other side of heartbreak is what? Love, right? Maybe it's self-love, maybe it's just the love, just pure love, right? Maybe it's attracting love, but on the other side of heartbreak, after you heal, it is still love, ultimately, right? So I created the book so that way anyone who is introduced to healing or in the healing process or feel like they have healed, but there's something missing, or they still have triggers, or they're lingering, they don't really know where to go. So that's the reason why I created the book Healing to Heal. It was originally an ebook, and I did expound and really get more in depth and honestly share a lot of my personal experiences to be able to relate to the reader and relate to the client and relate to them, to let them know that I am, although I wear it very well, I'm a very experienced soul here on this planet, not just here, but in whatever life I was in in the past. So I have an ancient, abundant amount of wisdom that I do like to share so that way I can help people live their life like it's golden, as they should.
Like that. And that is speaking from a place of experience and wanting to share. Like, so many times you see people who learn something or experience something and they treat it like this hidden treasure, like they don't want to tell anybody how they did it. Or, you see them walking around and like, how'd you do it? You got to figure it out. Or, and that's incredible that you wanted to share that, because that will help lots of people not only heal themselves, but understand when they're in situations where they can do the work to heal somebody else as well. So I did check out the ebook. You sent it to me a while ago, and I checked out the ebook. And one of the steps in the book, I won't tell too much about the book, but one of the steps in the book really, really got me, and it was shedding and releasing. And shedding and releasing was very big for me because I have no problem shedding. I have no problem shedding. I can, compartmentalize. I can put things where it needs to go. I can release. I can put things in that space where, okay, this is no longer for me. But then releasing it was the part that I had to work on. And it was like, okay, what are you doing with all this stuff? And it was like this metaphoric carpet that all these things were kind of under. So I'm shedding, but it's still right there. I'm tripping over it. I'm stepping on it. I'm walking through it. Every time I go somewhere, every time I do something, I'm not fully healing because I'm still walking in the stuff that I shed. So instead of releasing it, I was shedding it and then kind of like sweeping it into a pile. And eventually that pile gets too big where you have no room in your life. Now it's just you looking at this pile. One of y'all got to go. Right. And so when I read that, it allowed me to start releasing things, start releasing, my expectation of things and then the version of the things that I wanted to see in my life. You know, when you shed something, you no longer can really put any kind of thought into that. You kind of got to let it go. You know what I'm saying? It can still be a part of your healing process, but you can't go back to it. You can't continue to have access to it if you shed it and release it. So that part of the book really helped me. I'm excited to read the book because I feel like it's going to even expand further onto the knowledge that I got from the ebook. I know this was a long time coming for you. So how long did it take you to really write this book?
Well, after number one, when I wrote the ebook, I really like to describe a lot of, like, just the way I talk is extremely descriptive, right? So the ebook was honestly really challenging for me to write because I had to condense all of those steps and all of the emotions and the experiences and all of the feelings and triggers and affirmations and all of the things that I wanted to include in the book. I had to condense it into an ebook that was like maybe 7 to 8 pages. So honestly, that one took a long time. So my goal at the top of the year was to actually have it complete before my birthday, which was February 7th, which was my very first mind, body, and soul retreat. So I was able to execute, that deadline. But afterwards, I did go ahead on and I went to work on the physical book. Now, I will tell you this to be completely transparent. The physical book took me up until maybe 3 or 4 days ago to actually complete, excuse me. So from February 7th until September 29th, it was so many editing experiences. Number one, I developed a lot of different scenarios and also solutions to a lot of problems that come up when you're healing that I wanted to make sure I edited in the book. Okay. Number two, I am a speaker. So to go from speaking into writing, I realized what would have worked for me was doing voice to text and then converting it. What I did was I wrote out everything and I'm like, this doesn't sound like me. So it was a really huge learning experience, to be completely honest, and it took longer. And for me, I'm very big on materializing what I have in my mind. Of course, as I talked about the execution from moving from New York with the newborn babies to Georgia, and I'm really, really big on executing and materializing what I see in my mind. So for me to go from February to September to write a book, it drove me crazy. But I'm happy and grateful that you, as my coach, actually, you have taught me about giving myself the grace and knowing this is a piece of my heart and my artwork, right? And to just really be graceful in the process, because it's the process that gets you to that material thing as a physical book. So it took me long. It took me way longer than I thought. It took a long time, okay? And it not only did it take a long time, it taught me so much about myself. It taught me about the way how I act when I feel like I'm behind, okay? It taught me a lot about the process of materializing something. So something like a book, okay? It taught me a lot about just being an author, and it taught me a lot about just really my personal work. It really made me value my personal work because I had to go through and reread. And I'm like, oh, damn, this is good. Oh, this is good. Damn, this is good. So it really helped me a lot. With just remembering the type of work that I do, and also the lessons and the blessings and all of the solutions that I provide in the book. So I was able to go through the exercises I provide, the meditations and the affirmations after every single lesson. And then also at the back of the book, there's some pages to take notes. So I provide so much in that book. I'm grateful that it did take that long because I put a lot in it. So I'm grateful.
It sounds like it happened when it was supposed to happen. It sounds like it arrived exactly on time. You know what I'm saying? So big shout out to you for throwing me under the bus. Yes, we are a client coach. And I do talk about grace a lot in coaching. One of the biggest things that I understood about life was pressure. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves because society puts a lot of pressure on us. And if you conform to what society puts on you, you'll be on this hamster wheel. One of the first speaking things I ever did, I did a presentation for this company called Supplemental Healthcare. And it was kind of like I was working there, but it was my exit. They didn't know, but I was, they found out I was a speaker. They had me present. And my last real week there, I did a presentation called Hamster Wheel for Sale. And it was basically me letting them know that I wasn't going to be there much longer, but I didn't word it that way. But hamster wheel for sale is like, hey, the hamster realizes I'm not getting anywhere. I'm spinning this wheel, and there's people around watching, and they continuously put little things in here just to make me feel like I'm getting rewarded. But this isn't my life, right? This is what they want me to do. So this hamster wheel is a representation of a false narrative of progress. No matter how far you go or how fast you spin that wheel is locked into place. And so it was really a matter of making sure that I understood I had to give myself the grace to learn how to be free from that obligation, right? Yeah. Who told us that you have to work for someone else to survive and thrive and be successful in this world, right? That comes from different paradigms and different mindsets that we learn over time from the people who raise us or the information we allow ourselves to take in. So for me, I had to give myself the grace to understand, hey, okay, right, you've been thinking this way your whole life. Cool. Now give yourself permission to do something greater. You know where this road leads. You know what this does. I've been in corporate America. I've worked in the Fortune 500 companies. I've done small business, larger corporations. And the one commonality for me was I was always miserable. The biggest reason I was miserable was because I could never be myself. I was always trading time for money and trading morals for a product or a service. I could never authentically say, I'm providing something to you that I stand by. And that was the biggest pain point for me, was that I'm very honest in my approach to helping people, working with people, or any kind of service. And for me, it was a big deal to say, hey, come sign up and get this loan or this product that's going to lock you in for 30 years, even though I know they're ripping you off. I will go into my manager's office and say, hey, can I offer something else? Can you put me on a different team? Because I don't feel okay talking to these people and telling them these things. And these are real conversations I would have. Later on in life, a lot of those managers came back to me and said, hey, you really changed my mind on a lot of stuff when you said that to me. But ultimately, I left those jobs, right? So grace is a big deal, because grace is something that you can only get when you allow yourself to feel alive. Because when you feel alive, you start to understand there's a flow around you. There's things going on around you all the time, and it's never static, right? It's always moving. And so grace, I talk about grace a lot because that's such a big deal. You can't move forward without understanding that you're going to have some setbacks. You're going to have some quote unquote failures, as people like to call them, or learning experiences. And without grace, all those things will shut your whole life down. So that's a huge deal for me. And to talk about the book, like the grace that you gave yourself from the time of February to now, all the stuff you learned probably made that book way more amazing. And the grace gave you permission to say, let's put this in here too. Let's put this in here too. Let's live this too. Oh, wow, this is going to be great. Let's edit this book this way. So I think that's incredible. It's very incredible. So now the book is done, right? Do you have a release date for the book?
Yes, the book is right now available for pre-order. The release date is going to be Friday of next week. So I will be doing a book signing on Sunday. I will be releasing it. Just visit my Instagram page and you'll be able to kind of keep up with that, Kamesha.Sade. And so it will be released next week, and I'm very grateful. But it is available for pre-order right now. I have pre-orders coming in every day because people have also read the ebook, and they're like, okay, this is a deluxe version. Okay, I want to get into it. And then, not for nothing, I'm very grateful because, like I said, these are my words put in, and my experiences, and I'm a very private person. So this was definitely something that it was a big deal for me. It was a big deal for me. A lot of people want to know my story. A lot of people want to know how I make everything look so easy and just so sometimes people ask, do you have problems? And I'm like, girl, I'm a human too, you know? Of course I do, but my perspective and my perception of problems, or I call them opportunities, are very different. And that is what separates I believe, just my life. Really, that's what really has me always on a high. I'm always celebrating. I'm always in paradise. I'm always vibing out. I'm always dancing. You catch me at a random Walmart on a random day, I will be dancing, legit. So I have this energy in me that it never dies, right? It only multiplies and it only magnifies. So I wanted to share that, using my personal experiences, and I wanted to share that in a book. And it was really hard for me because I'm extremely private about my life. I'm like, somebody's business. I'll teach you, right? But
Right.
to share my personal experiences, it was a really, really, really big deal for me, but I am grateful that I did. So yes, the book is out now, and I am on the cover, not to mention it looks amazing. And I said, by default, I'm a supermodel, but no, truly. So I always wanted to be a model when I was a child. I always said, I want a model. And I've always just had a portfolio of different type of pictures, and to be able to put my picture and display it on the book, I was like, that's what this was for. Okay, that's what that photo shoot was for. So sometimes we, when we have our goals in mind and our dreams and our aspirations, you'll find yourself doing certain things that you don't even realize is going to connect in the future. So again, always follow your right thought. Just like you said, Marie, you came to Atlanta, you're like, something is telling me to move. Well, in a couple of years, you're going to figure out exactly why, right? So always follow your right thought, because it's going to connect some way, somehow. So, yeah.
I love that. I love that. And I definitely agree. So the book is here, right? Book is here, book is done. How does that make you feel, right? As it being such a lifelong project, right? Because it's really you, summarizing your healing journey. How does that make you feel, putting your life to this point on paper? How does that make you feel reading it back?
It was a little cringy at first. It's cringy because I'm private. It's so cringy. It's cringe. But it really feels amazing. I feel like it is associated and also a part of surrendering into the work that I'm doing, right? Being able to be transparent. And I'm very excited because I know how many people it will touch, and it will heal, and it will go through, and really, I feel good about it. I feel good about it. I feel happy. I'm excited about it. I'm very, very much so. I'm like, it's a blessing. Yes.
That's dope. That's super dope. So the reason I asked that question is because now that you've done a book, like an official, actual book, like you did an ebook, now you have a book. How long do you think it's going to be before you write another book?
Now that I understand the formula, and I created like my own formula for another, to write a book. Next book coming soon. Just know. Coming very soon. Before the end of the year. I'm putting you on the spot.
I'm putting you on the spot.
So I have a lot of different things I like to talk about. The main things I like to talk about is, of course, healing. I love to talk about my culture and my community. Okay. And I love to talk about divine feminine energy. Now, being that we are in a very specific day and age, I feel like our culture and our community is like one of the most important things right now to really be focused on. So the next book that I am creating will have more ancient wisdom. It will have more of our culture and foundational principles for us to go by and restore and replenish, because I am very extremely eccentric and cultured, very cultured, as you can check the hieroglyphs, right? So next book I will definitely be diving more into our roots and foundational things that we can do to remember who we are, right? And to continue to carry that confidence and let that posture be something that we carry as we are elevating through entrepreneurship. So
love that. That is dope. That is dope. So now let's talk about, since you're talking about educating and remembering who we are. You have a tribe called She Is Healed. Tell me about that and how that came about and what that means to you.
Yes. So originally, my community was called Healing to Heal, right? The community was Healing to Heal, and it involved men and it involved women as well. As I realized where the majority of my impactful, effective work came from, it came from me coaching women. So about a couple months ago, I decided that I was only strictly going to be coaching and providing events for women. There's so many different reasons why. But a few of them are, I am a woman and I know the story of a woman. I am a mother and I know the story of a mother. I'm a Black woman and I know the story of a Black woman. Okay, so I have a lot of different elements into my character and who I am that I can speak for with a woman. Okay, so that was one of the reasons. Second reason was because I am single and I tend to sometimes attract men who, may be interested in healing or whatever the case may be, but really they're just, interested in dating me, which is completely fine. However, I'm very extremely serious about my work, and I wanted to ensure that I was able to have all of the energy go into someone that was intentional. So I decided to pick only women. So She Is Healed actually came up. Shout out to my coach for helping me curate that. She Is Healed came up. I really wanted to pick something that was specific for women. And also the name She Is Healed is an actual affirmation. It's affirming that you are healed. And that community was based solely off of me always wanting sisters, to be honest. My mother doesn't have any daughters. My father doesn't have any. I'm literally the only daughter on my mother and my father's side. So I've always desired sisters, but being so individual and extremely unique and different, I never really had a consistent best friend. I never really had a clique of girls that I hung with because I was just always so different. It will last maybe a year or so, and I'm like, I'm elevating higher, and I can't relate to some of the things that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And even at an early age, I was able to identify and realize that you are exactly who you hang around. You are exactly who you talk to. You are exactly the people that you have in your circle. So the ideal and the concept, She Is Healed, the community of sisters that I saw, it really came from me wanting sisters. And I wanted to create a community where sisters, goddesses, women can come, they can feel good, they can see each other, they can compliment each other, right? And then they can dig deep into the work that they know that's inside of them, right? Ultimately, this healing heals themselves, the generations backwards, the generations forward, their household and family dynamic, which then heals our beautiful Black men, which then heals our dynamic of our family, which then heals the actual earth. So that's my end goal. And that's the reason why I do what I do. I know when I touch women, I ultimately touch children. When I touch the children, I ultimately touch the household. The household, the person in the household, at the top of the household, is the man. So I'm all for unity, I'm all for dynasty, and I'm all for the family dynamic. And I know my part comes in with healing our women. So that is She Is Healed in a nutshell.
I love that. That is dope. That is very, very dope. And I think that it's incredible that you have so much to bring to the story that you're telling, right? You didn't just write a book. You wrote your book, right? You didn't just create a tribe. You created your sisterhood. And it's very intentional. And I love how intentional the things that you're building are. They represent extensions of you, right? You mentioned that you're single. So obviously you would want this community of healed women to help you create more men who are available in a healed space that could partner with you, right? That could become someone who is healed, that now you are no longer single because you've met the person, because you're doing the work, right? When you do the work, you attract the people who are either A, doing the work, or B, have done that work, right? Along every path, there's a guide. And sometimes the guide is just your higher self. Sometimes the guide is a physical being. Sometimes the guide is just something that you appears, but there's always a guide. It is always a guide. When it's a quote that says, "Whenever the student is ready, the teacher appears." I also agree that whenever the teacher is ready, the student appears. Because sometimes we feel like being a teacher is the top level, but everyone is still evolving and learning. So I think that it's incredible that as a teacher, you've realized I'm ready now. And now your tribe is showing up. And I think that's amazing. That's really incredible to see that happen because you're showing them through your experiences what you can do. But in your community, you're seeking out people that can do things that you may not be able to do, right? Because you want it to be a full functioning community where everyone gets what they need. And I think that's incredible.
Yes,
What
my
made you
goal.
want to? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, my apologies. My goal is to have, like, in my community, just some of the people that I really want to be in my community is someone who is available, or someone or multiple people who are available for a hotline. It can be suicide, it could be stress, it could be depression. Someone who is a doula. Okay, someone who is able to naturally bring life into the world and assist with that. A doula, midwife, a nurse, someone who can answer questions or assist someone outside of the doctor's office, because people are getting more anti-doctor's office. Okay, a herbalist, someone who can provide information on herbs and medicate, like natural medicine and remedies to be able to help. Also a mental health advisor, someone who is licensed in the mental health department, a beauty professionals as well, because a part of being a feminine goddess is being extremely beautiful. So beautiful beauty professionals, and just advocates in general, people who have been on a journey, people who, mothers who can say, hey, I'm new to Atlanta, I'm in the She's Healed group, I have a 2-year-old, hey, I'm here, and allow the She's Healed community in Atlanta, wherever, where whoever is in Atlanta in the She's Healed group, to be able to say, hey girl, you got a birthday party on Saturday, come on, right? So that's what this community is really about. You're on mute.
Oh, wow. So I'm going to start that over. I think that's really cool because you really are making it bigger than yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Typically, whenever we do something and it stops at us, a couple things happen. Number one, it can only go as far as you can take it. Mm-hmm. Number two, it becomes about you versus about the people that you're looking to help. Mm-hmm. And number three, it also isolates you, right? So now you become a target versus someone people look to conglomerate with, right? They don't want to really network with you because they see you on this island. And it's like, I'm not really, that's cool, but what you're saying requires more than just you, right? So one of my goals with me building my coaching partnership, I call it a partnership because I've always been looking for coaches to partner with or have inside of Come Alive. And just recently, this is going to be the first time anybody's going to hear this name, but it's the Hero Circle. Mm-hmm. And it is a community of people who are committed to doing the work in their specific field. And I want it to be geared towards making sure that there's a platform and a place for whatever kind of help that you need. There's so many people that come to me and say, hey, can you do this kind of work? Can you do this kind of work? I don't, right? And initially when I started Come Alive, I had those people in my network, and slowly but surely those people kind of disappeared or dwindled off, did their own thing just because life happens. So now I'm rebuilding that hero circle to make sure that everyone has what they want and what they need. Now, in my brain, because I'm a nerd, that's like low key my Avengers group. So, but like even the logo was like a bunch of little cartoon superheroes in a circle, but it's like really making sure that I'm doing my work, right? I know what my work is on this planet, or at least for right now, I know what that work is right now. And it doesn't require isolation. It doesn't require isolation. It definitely doesn't require me overextending myself and trying to do everything. It requires partnerships and alliances and allegiances that allow me to be just a part of it versus being all of it. And I always felt awkward being a coach and just saying, oh, Coach Emery, come work with me. Like, I want you to work with us. But at the time, it was just me. I would still say us though, because I'm like, yo, It's bigger than me. This is bigger than me. Come work with us because Come Alive is a brand. Come Alive is a conglomerate. So I love that you're already seeking those people, those components, those parts that will help this thing keep moving. That's super amazing. So I'm going to get into a couple questions real quick. I ask these questions on majority of my interviews. I switch them around. There's a really, really, really deep question. There's a really fun question. And then there's more of a question where you get to flex and talk about what you do. So I'm going to ask the first question now. What is a piece of advice you would give yourself, I'll say 5 years ago, that you know now that you didn't know before?
5 years ago, I would tell myself, I would tell myself 5 years ago, go around where it's better. Go around where it is better. I would tell myself that because I discovered that I have a lot of empathic ways. And it's not just feeling people's emotions. It's literally, I start to adopt like the person's thinking, their being, their habits, just by default, because I'm such a student, because I'm so empathic, right? So I strive that can work really, really well if it's in a great environment with a person who is going where I'm looking to go and doing what I'm looking to do. Or it could be my downfall if it's with someone who's, a little bit stagnant or low vibrational. So for me, environment means everything. So I would tell myself, go around where it is better and never look back.
I like that. I like that. That is dope. That is dope. So, wow. So, because in our sessions and you talk, you always use that phrase, place yourself where you see yourself. Does that align with that?
Absolutely. Place yourself where you see yourself.
Okay. Because in my brain, all I heard was that. I kept hearing that in my head. I'm like, yo,
hashtag, place yourself where you see yourself.
Hashtag. Good. So now my next question, this one is probably way deeper, right? It's gonna throw you off. It's way deeper. If you could compare yourself to any animal on the planet, what animal would it be and why?
Okay, so I know like the basic animals, like in what they do. So at this point in my life right now, I would truly say a butterfly. I would say a butterfly because a butterfly always has the same characteristics and of who they will become, but they're just in the stage where they're just a little caterpillar. They are who they are with really not as much direction. Very cute, very new, very fresh, very vulnerable. And that's who I was before I really tapped into healing. And then when you cocoon and you go into this cocoon phase, I was at a point in time where I cut off, like pretty much not cut off, but I lost connection with most people in my city when I moved to Atlanta. And I really grew in a cocoon stage. I was literally around no one. Now I'm going to tell you something really quickly that's important about that. Again, I always say, place yourself where you see yourself. So not only did I not have like, negative influences around me, but I didn't have positive influences around me. And that's a really big one. A lot of times we isolate ourselves and we get in this cocoon phase and we're doing okay, but we cannot measure progression if we're not around where it's better. Right. So I was in a stage where I was cocooning. I was, in the individualistic mindset and things like that. And then when I started to place myself intentionally where I saw myself, I started to blossom because here is an environment that allowed me, and that supported the blossom. Here is an environment where other people are blossoming too. Here's an environment where you got somebody who done blossomed 40 years ago, and now they can teach you all of the things that they know. You can see the manifestation of what they have done. You see what I'm saying? So I would definitely consider myself to be a butterfly. Now, with butterflies, a lot of times people say butterflies have no destination. Well, I am an elevated, evolved butterfly that has a destination, and that is to heal our people. So I am she, the butterfly.
Okay, I like that. That was pretty dope. Like, I like how you flipped that around. That's kind of cool. So last question is, and it's probably gonna be more after this because that's gonna bring more questions. How can people, well, specifically, how can women looking to start their healing journey reach out to you? How can they work with you or just follow what you're doing?
Absolutely. So you can follow me on, well, you can follow us, right? The organization, the movement, the community. She is healed at on Instagram at underscore she is healed, just like how it sounds. You can also visit us on www.sheishealed.com. We do have a contact form there, or connect with me personally on Instagram, Kamesha.Sade. On there, you'll see a lot of my personal work. You'll see also my She is Healed work. And you also have the ability to go online to see all of the events that we have coming up. And also my book is on there as well. And then you can also email me at sheishealedllc@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. Connect with me. I am here in Atlanta, Georgia as well, in the Decatur, where it's greater area. Okay. So I am here as well. And I love to collaborate and I love to connect. And I just really love good people. I love good vibes and authenticity. So connect with me on Instagram at Kamesha.Sade and also underscore she is healed, and then connect with us through email, sheishealedllc@gmail.com.
Awesome. That is dope. That is dope. So it's a lot. It's a lot of to digest. Not the places to contact you, but just a lot to digest that you're giving so much of yourself. So I have a question for you about that. Mm-hmm. How do you, well, first, do you ever get overwhelmed? And I know this is kind of a rhetorical question, but do you ever feel overwhelmed?
Yes. Yes, I would truly say sometimes I can be overwhelmed.
Okay. Now, when you feel like that, how do you bring yourself out of that space?
I tap into my rituals. I tap into my rituals because my rituals always bring me back to, number one, why I do what I do. Number two, who I am. Anytime I feel out of alignment or overwhelmed, it's because my empathic ways are allowing me to put trust in other people to drive in my driver's seat. That's the only time I get out of alignment and overwhelmed. Life things, I don't shake. Tragedy things, I don't shake. I've experienced deaths. I've experienced a lot of traumatic experiences. I don't shake. I don't go with those. But when I feel out of control, oh, we have a problem. And what gets me back there, what gets me back into my element and back in control is when I tap into my rituals with my journaling. And I tap into my meditation, I get still so I can actually listen. And when I hear my intuition telling me things, now I can digest them. I tap into prayer, right? I connect and I pray and I connect with my higher self. And I'm able to hear and be still and say, well, Kamesha, you're feeling overwhelmed because you're consuming too much of this. Or Kamesha, you're feeling overwhelmed because when is the last time you done said your affirmations? Kamesha, you feeling overwhelmed because, girl, when the last time we did a spiritual bath? So it's really about connecting, right? Connecting and staying connected and doing those rituals. I talk about that in my book as well. It's extremely important. Rituals come first, to be honest. So that's how I get back in alignment when I feel like I'm out of alignment.
I like that. Does your inner self always talk to you in that voice?
Well, my inner self has so many different voices. My inner self have a very authentic accent, okay? All the time. Especially when I get excited. Oh man. Okay. And then my higher self also has the hunger voice. And then my higher self also has Nubia. You know what to do. Right. I had the wisdom that comes out. So a couple little different voices there. My higher self, we click so well. I love her. Oh my
God. You know, I had to take you there because the voices be definitely getting me, man. I never know who's gonna be in the session. I'm like, yo, who is here today? Which one of y'all is here today? But that's dope. That's super dope, and it's really cool that you have that, and it's powerful to understand developing your own rituals, understanding developing the things that keep you grounded or get you back in calibration when you are out of alignment or out of control. So that's super dope. The last question that I have for you is another question, but it's more for the other people listening. what's one piece of information, what's one piece of advice that you would give to people aside from go get the book, right? That's the first piece of advice, go get the book. But what's a piece of advice that they can take and take action on right now if they are starting their healing journey brand new? What piece of advice would you give them as like a first step for themselves?
In order to get out, you must go in. All of the answers are always inside. Never search for the answers outside of yourself. So I will tell the person all of the answers are what's inside of you. You can have people, you can have things to assist you, but you are you hold the keys to all of your ultimate healing. Everything is inside of you. Never put anyone above your own ability to listen to yourself. Yeah,
I love that.
I would definitely say that. Go in to get out. If you want to get out of depression, you got to go inside. You want to get out of anxiety, you got to go inside. You want to get out of self-sabotage, you must go inside and really discover what in your foundational principles have you thinking that it's okay to self-sabotage. So you must go inside, going within. Absolutely. Every time, going within.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for dropping so much knowledge and wisdom, and also dropping the ways that people communicate with you, sharing about the book. I'm very excited about that. If you're in Georgia, make sure you tap in with the Instagram so you can be there for the book signing. Make sure you lock in, tap in with this person. She is amazing. She does the work and she stands by what she says. So really, really tap in with her. Kamesha Sade on Instagram, sheishealed.com, or sheishealed@gmail.com. Check her out. So as always, I thank you for being here. Anybody listening, be dope and be great. Peace.